wasn't a brilliant jumper. He used to take liberties where here he knew that he could just get a bit lower, take the top bit of birch off with him. And I think this lad's the same. When you see him in the paddock today, he won't stand out as a big, rangy former Grand National winner, if you know what I mean. No, he does lack size, but he's got enough scope. Do
you think he's quite got the class to win it? I mean, I think he's a more national from 10 years ago type.
Right.
Whether he's, as mentioned, we've got 12 Grade 1 winners in here. I'm not sure he's quite that level.
And also, intense raffles, like in the Bobby Joe, he was only just behind him, giving him £3. He's about £15 better off, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, just from that point of view, I'd just be thinking, no.
Okay. Good. 12 Grade 1 winners in the field, tells you how classy it is. One of them is Hewick. What a story he would be. Shark handler Gavin Sheehan back on board. He was on board when he won the King George. His son was on aboard on this day. He wouldn't be qualified to ride in this race because you need to ride a certain amount of winners over fences. The ground that we're going to be negative or question about certain horses like intense raffles, etc., there will not be a problem for this fella. If it dries out all afternoon, it'll be perfect. It
will. He'll definitely appreciate the ground, and he's been a fantastic horse, well documented. He was a very cheap buy, €850 I think he cost. He's won a King George, he's won a Galway Plate, he's won a Durham National, he's won a Grade 1 in America. He's been a fabulous horse for connection. As you say, Gavin Sheehan back on board, first time since the King George. He enjoyed the good ground this day. He comes here in very good nick. Again, he'll run well, but I think he's got enough weight personally. Grange Clare West beat him in the Savills Chase at Christmas. Sorry, in the Irish Gold Cup in February. I think he'll confirm it.
Okay, we could see him with Grange Clare West in the Irish Gold Cup. Grange Clare West, a classy horse. A mark of 163, it'd need to be.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a big weight, isn't it? But he is a Grade 1 winner. He beat Corbett's Cross in a Grade 1 last season. This was a personal best performance. Gets beat by Galloping Deschampsby. Look at the horses in behind. Factorfar was in there. The Gold Cup winner was in there. Minella Kakuna's in there. A host of very good horses. Hewick as well. So if he could replicate this, I think decent ground suits him. So the conditions will be in his favour. Brian Hayes has ridden him the last two starts. You totally put a line through the last run. It was 2.5 round Navan. He needed to have a 6 run to qualify for a Grand National, so I wouldn't take any notice whatsoever of that. If he could reproduce this, I think he'll go well.
So he's 40 to 1. He's one of the bigger prices. You want to be positive about.
He's drifted because he was 25s yesterday. For whatever reason, he's drifted, but I will be positive about his chance here.
Okay,
I would too. I think he's a classy horse, isn't he?
And he just kept working away. Sort of going to the last, I think he's going to be 5th, 6th maybe.
I think he'll stay okay.
From the last of the line, he's just doing his best work.
I think he's always looked quite a strong stayer. And as Mark said, like last time was just a means to an end. Find a race that's not going to be too hard on him. Because he needed that 6th run. 3 Card Brag's another one that needed a 6th run and kind of comes into it on the back of an unsuitable test of race. I think of the really big prices, he's been underestimated a little bit, I think, as Grange Clare West.
Okay, Nicky Henderson has won all the big races, apart from this race. Randox Grand National has eluded him. He's got Highland this year, who will like the ground. I personally don't fancy him. I just Kempton last time, he was sluggish away from the start. He was slowed down over the first couple. I think he can't afford to do that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more about that. I think it's the very first fence he made a mistake, and that was a big field handicap. If he did that today, it'd be curtains straight away. He did really well to get back and finish second, conceding so much weight of Sam Thomas's. This is the run in the Corto Star. This form reads really well with the Jukebox Man. He'd been good at Cheltenham a couple of times beforehand. His first half of the season form, and even the handicap last time, he couldn't argue with it, but it's just a totally different ball game. Big field, experienced handicapper, stroke Grade 1 winners. I fear it could be over early on.
Right. And we're maybe being harsh. Maybe he's still learning because he hasn't had that many goes. So if you want to be positive, he's. And you were mentioning earlier about the unexposed profile coming into this race. He's got that, and he might take a step forward. And one eye on today.
Yeah, and he is a classy horse. With that bit of form shows it, and he's off the same mark as at Kempton, where he did end up a long way back because of what happened early on, and yes, the same thing might happen again, but equally he's formerly a horse that could make the running, and it hasn't always been the case. So he's one of those that you'll be looking after a couple of fences, you'll have your eye on him and be thinking, what's he done early? How's he jumped those first couple? What position has he got into? Because if he gets over those first few, if they sort of got a circuit to run and he's taking it really well, you're thinking
he's a big player,
handicap might not be getting him beaten. He looks like he'll probably stay. He's got plenty of class. I wouldn't be quite so swift to rule him out, for all that I can see the argument that you might have ruled him out after 30 seconds of the race.
And so you've been positive about 14?
No, I haven't. Can I just do a quick test?
Yeah.
It's just on how much is a pint of milk?
Don't know.
How much did Hewitt cost?
Oh yeah.
I reckon within racing, everyone knows how much Hewitt costs.
Yeah.
But they don't know how much a pint of milk is.
Well, probably not. I mean, I don't.
Your test finished?
Yep.
Good. Paul Nicholls knows what it takes to win this race. Neptune Collonge beating Sunny Hill Boy in a pulsating finish under Darrell Jacob all them years ago. He's well represented in the race. He's been quiet the last few years. Can Do Kids clearly, I think, clearly the #1. And again, like Highland, you can be positive about the ground, and we saw him skip over these fences last year in the Topham, and he really took them.
He did take them. Yeah, this was a really solid run, and he's taken his form to another level as well as he's gone up in trip this season. I think at the start of the season there were 2 plans for the horse. First one was the Coral Gold Cup at Newbury, which he won, and the second was the Grand National. So this run here, this proves that he has no problems with the ground behind the likes of James de Burley. Drying ground will definitely be in his favour, and a bit like Grange Clare West's last run at Navan, I wouldn't read anything into the Newbury run. I think it was a case of just getting another run into him. That put him spot on for today.
It was far too short for him, wasn't it? Drop back in trip. I mean, I suppose you can make the argument with him that as recently as last season he was actually showing his form over those sort of distances, wasn't he? But he definitely improved for a step up in distance when he won the Coral Gold Cup. I just question that form really of the Coral Gold Cup. It's not like it was a strong renewal of it. 13 runners, not a deep race that's really worked out, is it, this time around? But
quickly through the Nicholls, Hitman won't stay, will he?
Don't think he will, though. It's going to be a struggle. I think Brave Man's Game will stay.
Yeah.
I think he's got the right jockey, James Reevely, for round here. He'll enjoy the ground. But this season, he just hasn't looked the horse he used to be.
Stay Away Faye hasn't looked the same horse. When he won the Albert Bartlett, you're thinking, oh, this is a Gold Cup horse, isn't he? He's a proper horse, but for whatever reason, and he was quiet in the Ultima last time out.
Yeah, he was. He's failed to sparkle recently. I'm hoping that the Albert Bartlett of that year provides the winner, but not with him.
Right. Can I do a test for you?
Yep. I won't know the answer to any of the questions.
Will you not?
No.
What won the Grand National 1983?
I can't remember. So. What won it?
Well, he'll definitely know. Corbière.
I know. Is it going to mention Beauport?
Yeah, Beauport.
So,
Same colours.
Same colours.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh. Here he is, and they've protected his mark.
Yeah.
Ben DeHaan's not aboard him. Sam Twiston Davis is.
Yeah,
and he had the choice obviously between him and Broadway Boy.
And you'd have to say he's one of the leading British hopes this afternoon as well. He's had a cracking season. He started life as a novice. Well, he won the Colin Parker at Carlisle, then he lost his form. He's won a Midlands National, but he's run 3 really good races this season. This is a run at Haydock where he's second behind Gwenny Mayboy in the Rendlesham. Prior to this, he'd been a good third in a long walk, and at the start of the season he won the Berkshire National, which isn't necessarily a recognised trial for a Grand National, but he won it by 31 lengths, so he's had a cracking season.
You like him?
He'll stay. He's going to be in the race from an early stage, isn't he? He's got a really good record at Ascot. He seems to love Ascot, and he's a lot higher than when he won there with a big claim off his back earlier on in the year. I'd probably be lukewarm on him, to be honest. He used to jump out to his right.
He did.
You wouldn't want to start on his outside, really, would you?
No. You'd end up at Anfield. Find his worst place to end up with someone?
There is, yeah. He could be at Goodison Park, couldn't
you? What else we know? Let's rattle down a few more that we haven't mentioned. Just give me a yes or no. We've mentioned it. Royal Pagani ground, no.
No, too much weight in ground.
Agreed?
Yeah. Yes, no.
It won't stay.
Agree.
Another Cocooner you've made a case for?
Yeah, big chance.
I can see him.
Conflated, 11 years young, looks
too old,
on the downgrade.
Too old, yeah.
Stumptime we've mentioned, Hitman won't stay, Beauport we've mentioned, Country House, no. 300 through 5, no.
Probably not, no. Probably.
Senior Chief.
No, he liked the ground, but I don't think he's classy.
We done intense raffles properly.
Yeah, we mentioned him. We watched him gallop in the Bobby Joe.
Yeah, we did.
We talked about the ground.
Yeah.
You still with us, yeah?
Yep.
Idis Boy, no.
No.
Answer for you?
Yep.
Phil Dorr. Gordon Elliott's trying to make a case.
The trips, I don't think he's ever been beyond 2.5, has he? So he's taking it on trust.
Broadway boy in the old Rhinus colours.
No, it's not. It's just not been in as good a form this season, has he?
Cocoa Beach, no. Stay away, Fate, no. Old Big Julius.
Not impossible to run well, probably won't win.
Wanted softer, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
I think.
Highland, we've mentioned. Celeb Dallin won't stay.
No, he's 13, isn't he? It's a big ask at 13.
Yeah, and he won't stay, will he?
Probably not. But he's got course form, hasn't he?
Chris?
He's a no. You're jumping down horses quicker than I'm. Have we discussed Vanilla?
He was second in the race 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
He's the Gavin Cromwell bundle that you were talking about.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about much though. I think so. Last year he was obviously, it was a no-show, but the whole of last season was a no-show really. He's been second in the race before. I think he's looked back in decent enough nick.
Forget the cross-country race.
Yeah,
he went to take the wrong course.
Exactly, and he actually ran pretty well to finish second under the circumstances. He'd won the time before that. The only thing is he's not that big a price.
Yeah. The blinkers have made a big difference, haven't they? Yeah. They've fired him up, but whether he's got the gears to win a national, I'm not so sure, is he?
And then Twig and Dufficoat, no.
Yep.
Happy there. Yep. Right. All we need to do is what wins it.
Oh God, Manila Kakuna. Manila Kakuna.
Are you worried?
Manila what?
Manila who?
It's cold weather. Talking of duffel coats.
Yeah. What about Danny Mullins? He had the choice between Manila Kakuna and Meeting of the Waters.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Meeting the Waters, I think, well, stamina's a big query. I get the dry and ground, I get all that. I thought he'd definitely go for Manila Kakuna. I listened to him yesterday talking about it.
I didn't realise he had the choice. I did wonder why Johnny Burt was on it, but I'm surprised because Meeting the Water, he looked a non-stay to me last year. So yeah, that's a negative. But he likes good ground. He ran well in Irish National this time last year. He won a Bet 365. I thought it was an eye catcher last time out in the Bobby Joe. I think he's got loads going for him.
So he wins. Bigger price.
Grange Clare West, I think. I think Iroquo's rock solid each way, but I think Grange Clare West. I don't think he should be 40-1.
I think 3-card Bragg's I think he's unexposed.
Yeah.
He had a run at Navan, obviously, to qualify for this. McNeil family, I think this is... You? What wins?
3-card Bragg is the horse that I've got top of the list. I agree that Manila Kakuna has got a decent chance. Rocco of the ones at the very top of the market. Grange Clare West, I agree, at the really big prices. But 3-card Bragg's the horse I like most. You can go through his form and put a positive handicapping spin on it. I think this has been a target for a long time. His last run, as I mentioned, was his 6th run to get him qualified. His one chase win came before that, but it's last year's form when he was a close second behind Corbett's Cross, when he wasn't far behind Spillane Tower, with Monty's Cross in there as well, Monty Star in there as well. They're all 160 horses, and he's running off a mark in the mid-140s, 10 stone 5. Sean Bowen's got a good run out of a horse in the National in the past, finished 4th, didn't he, a couple of years back. I think he's a strong stayer who's yet to have his stamina fully tested, and I think he'll improve for it. I just can't believe he's such a big price.
Okay, there you go. Well, what do you fancy at home? What ground will it be? And let's find out. Rachel's been speaking with John Pullen.
Out on track once again. A great pleasure to be joined by John Pullen ahead of this year's Randox Grand National. And first of all, John, what a treat to be involved in such a famous, special race that not just watched globally, but loved locally and all around the world. My gosh.
It is. It's a huge honour and privilege for me this year to be part of it. You know, it's the race that most of us have grown up with. We've all sat on armchairs and watched it and picked horses out and taken part in sweepstakes and. No, it's an iconic race that we've all grown up with. So, you know, huge privilege for me to be. A
privilege, and with that comes a lot of responsibility. And right, for the Grand National course, how are we looking for this year's race?
Yeah, so once again a huge effort from the grounds team overnight again. You know, we managed to get 8mm on both courses last night. We didn't finish irrigating. The pop-ups finished around 7:30 this morning. The Briggs finished around 2 a.m. this morning. Wow. So the team have had an extremely long fortnight, particularly the last 3 days. But we're in good shape. We feel we've got plenty on and put us in a good position. Similar conditions today. You know. Might be a little bit cooler, a couple of degrees cooler than we have been for the last 2 days, which will help, but we've still got this breeze again today, so it will dry up. But the Grand National course, good to soft, and the mild made good.
Okay, good. And we always thought that would be the case, didn't we, obviously, with the National. And as we walk down, I mean, John's got his going stick. This is kind of like my going stick. I did say, you go flat racing and you can just skip along. But, I mean, you can get into this, can't you?
You can. You know, the team have got plenty of water on over the last 2 weeks, and we've just managed to keep on top of it, particularly this Grand National course, and that's hugely important, obviously. You know, we've got the directive to try and start on the good to soft ground, which we've managed to do, and it's ridden well for the last 2 days, and we're pleased that we've got the water on again last night to put us in a good place for today.
Amazing work by all the team. Have you enjoyed yourself?
I have. It's been fantastic. You know, it's you know, great to work with another team within the group, and they're a great bunch, very dedicated, very proud of Aintree, and very proud of the race. So no, it's been great working alongside them.
I'm sure they're very proud of themselves and working with you as well. Right, we're just hitting finish line. Come on then, John, who's going to win it?
I wish I knew. I suppose after last year's performances of those horses that ran in the cross country at Cheltenham, it would be nice to see how Stumptown runs today. You know, he's performed very well in those cross country races this season. So with my Cheltenham hat on, it would be nice to see a good performance from him today.
Well, it's been so wonderful having you with us here on Racing TV the last few days with your Cheltenham hat on and very much your Aintree hat on today for the Grand National. Wish you the best of luck, and as ever, thank you so much.
No, thank you very much.
Full SP Preview, proudly sponsored by Typeform.
Big news at Bet365.
Yes, Rachel, Bet365 are boosting just about everything.
She's right. Last month, Bet365 boosted the odds on over 20,000 bets.
Really? That sounds like a lot.
It is, and Bet365 will do it all again this month.
With over 500 boosts available every day, download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Full SP Preview, proudly sponsored by Typeform.
Well, we need as much help as we can get trying to pick out the winner of the Randox Grand National. So we've got in Kieran Clark from Timeform. Get Timeform's perspective and your own perspective. First of all, it's a really good renewal.
Really classy renewal, isn't it now? That's what the National's probably going to be from now on. We saw yesterday a dual Grade 1 winner goes and wins the Topham. Very, very hard to find the winner, but a very classy race, and a few names that people will be familiar with as well, so they can really support their favourites.
Yeah.
Like Hewick.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and I think this track will really suit him. The smaller fences, ground's drying all the time. It's been really windy here this week. Long running, Gav Sheehan back on him. I can see him being like the people's horse. We all know how much he cost, and yeah, I can see him being the one that the money comes for, a bit of the public money, yeah.
Yeah, and last year's winner's a good starting point as well, isn't he? Obviously trying to do it, the first horse since Red Rum 1974.
Yeah, and this has probably been the target all along. You watched that race back last year, it's amazing how far he wins by, to say he wasn't even in front at the elbow. And it might be the similar case this year. They didn't actually go that quick. But yeah, you'd think he'd be on the scene, but at the prices I was willing to take him on. Iroko tops our ratings, top rated with a P. I mean, this has been his plan all along. He was a big eye catcher at Cheltenham on trials day. Obviously, he's been second here in the Grade 1 to a Gold Cup winner, second to Grade 1 in last time. It'd be no surprise if he won. obviously Ollie Greenall, I think his dad's got a stand named after him here, so it'd be a great story if he could win.
Chairman Lord Dorsbury.
Yeah, I think if he stays, he's probably the most likeliest winner. And if they don't go quick enough, that'll really help him. Obviously, he's a former festival winner as well. He'd be top of my shortlist. Just a slight stamina doubt, possibly. If you want one at a massive price, Grange Clare West is really.
We were just previewing with Mark and Chris, and all three of us have sort of said he's the one for us.
Yeah, I think they ran him too quick last time.
I had to run him to get him qualified over that trip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but obviously on that Leopardstown form with the likes of Factor File, and I like the way you're thinking behind him. Iron Maximus behind him, Hewitt behind him. He's the one that could real spring a surprise around 40-1, and not like Nicky Henderson to run a novice in this either, is it? No. He's after trying to win this for many years, and this seems to have been the plan all along for Highlands. A bit concerned he got behind at Kempton, but they rode him a bit differently that day. I think they'll be back to positive tactics with him today. Who do you fancy now?
3-card Bride, Grange Clare West.
3-card Brag's got pretty good form from last year, hasn't he? Yeah. Second season novice. I can see that. I can definitely see that. I do like Iroko, and I've got to mention Vanillier. He's obviously been second here off his mark. Quite unlucky at Cheltenham, I thought. Sometimes got the blinkers on today to help him go with a bit more zest, but Vanillier nearly took the wrong course. He's somehow finished third. Since the blinkers have gone on, he won on that Banks course. He's got form round here. He was probably the one of the Cromwell trio, I think it is, that I'd fancy the most. Personal level guy-wise, obviously had the old school prep, won the Paddy Power, won over hurdles. Yeah. Probably be a Rocco and Vanillier, I think, but I think this could be well run. There's a chance they do slow it down, but there's loads of front runners in there. 3 under through 5. 3-card Bag will be up there. Hewick will be up there. I think Highland will be. There's about 4 or 5 front runners in this.
Yeah. Intense Raffles, has he the one the last few days?
Yeah.
Since the forecast and the sun's been out, people are just against because of ground, but he hasn't had a chance to run on his ground. Yeah,
that was my thinking as I've just had a quick look there. I was thinking soft and heavy ground form, then actually looked through his form. He's never really run on this before. He's probably the one that's maybe becoming a backable price around 16-1. But yeah, I would have slight. The reason I have ground concerns is why haven't they run him on this before? I suppose. Yeah.
Okay. In short, sum it up. What wins? Give us one.
If he stays, Iroko wins.
Iroko wins the Randox Grand National. Kieran Clark from Time Form.
Now, on the most unusual of days, why not chuck another unusual element into it? Because of Ramadan this year, the Dubai World Cup meeting was pushed back a week, and it directly coincides with the action over at Aintree. We can take a look through the card, and it is a bang up to scratch renewal of the Dubai World Cup meeting as a whole. We kick off at 1:35. The dirt is fast, the turf is good, no surprise there. And we start with the purebred Arabians in the Dubai Kahela Classic. Tilal Al Khalidia, something of a shock winner last year ahead of stablemate Asfan Al Khalidia. Well, the former is back for more. The latter is a non-runner. That's over 2,000 metres to kick off. Then the thoroughbred action starts with the Dubai Gold Cup. Trawlerman third in this last year, looking to go 2 better in a really open renewal. 2:45, the Godolphin Mile, a huge story around Frankie Dettori off the racetrack. Well, he's looking to get on the headlines for the right reasons. He's on the favourite Raging Torrent, and for Doug O'Neill. The Al Quoz Sprint, really open race once again. Hong Kong won it last year with California Spangle. John Size has How Deep Is Your Love with the first ride for James McDonald on the evening. More on him in just a bit. 4 o'clock, it directly coincides with the Randox Grand National, the UAE Derby, sponsored by Jumeirah, over the 1,800 metres and extended 1,800 to 1,900. Flood Zone, the favourite there. Jamie and Safi Osborne teaming up with Heart of Honour. Jamie having won this race with Toast of New York 11 years ago. Dubai Golden Shaheen and the Americans are looking to get their name back on the board with Straight No Chaser, the charge of Dan Blacker, Johnny V on board in the My Racehorse Syndicate, looking to become, I think, the first horse to win the Breeders' Cup Sprint, the Riyadh Dirt Sprint and the Golden Shaheen in quick succession. Then we get into the biggest races of all, the Dubai Turf and the return to Meydan of Romantic Warrior, and the return to turf as well, having been behind Forever Young in the Saudi Cup last time. That's over a mile and a furlong. The Longines Dubai Shima Classic, a great renewal of this. Calandagan, the first time we see him this season. Francis Henri Graffard looking to make his mark on Gold Cup night. Mikhail Barcelona taking over from Stefan Pasquier. And then it's a case of Forever Young versus the rest of the field. He is the strong odds-on favourite to back up his Saudi Cup win in the Dubai World Cup and take the prize home once again for Japan. 6:30, you can enjoy it all on Racing TV Extra, a dedicated live service for the Dubai World Cup meeting. Asfan Al-Khalidi is a non-runner in the Dubai Kahela Classic. Now 2:45, number 1 Cagliostro and 7 Mestri out, and 4:40, number 4 Jasper Crone and 8 Royal Commander. RacingTV.com/racegods/non-runners for your updated non-runners throughout the course of the afternoon. Our attention's on Aintree for the time being, and a reminder to get involved with the Grand National Challenge. I mean, who doesn't want a 50-inch TV, a Racing TV membership and a merch bundle? If that's you, and I'm sure many at home, select the first 4 home in any order in the Randox Grand National. Entries must come before the race goes off. That's 4 o'clock, Saturday the 5th of April. That's today. And to get involved, scan the QR code to enter now on screen to win your TV, membership and merch bundle. Right, straight back to the track we go. We've had an update on the ground. We've previewed the big one. What about the markets? How are they moving? Let's get back to Rachel.
Well, the biggest betting race in the UK, certainly, and for most of the world, I've got to say, the Grand National. And delighted to be joined by David Stevens of Coral to bring us right up to speed. It's so exciting to be here, isn't it? A great buzz for National Day, and everyone gets involved. Even if you've never seen a horse in your life before, somebody wants to watch the National.
It still remains, Rachel, the one race that the British public enjoy a flutter on in huge numbers. Few facts and figures. We estimate 1/3 of the adult population in this country will have a flutter today. And look, a lot of those will be placing bets for family members as well. You pick your horses at home, you go down the bookies or you go online and then you tune in. 150 million quid will be staked on the race alone. Now, to put that into context, the second biggest betting race of the year is the Cheltenham Gold Cup. And that's about 6 times bigger, the money we'll take today on that Cheltenham Gold Cup. It's huge, and it remains, you know, it still has that magic. And I know people say, oh, the race has been softened and sanitised and this, but it's the biggest day for newspaper sales. It's the biggest TV audience racing gets. It's still a magical occasion. And this place, by the way, makes so much of that. The city of Liverpool embraces it. Okay, the weather's been on our side this week. Everyone's got a smile on their face. Yeah. Crowd attendances are up. It is brilliant. And genuinely, you know, you could say, I've been coming here for 30 years, and I love this day more than any other day in the betting calendar. And I'm a flat racing fan, for God's sake.
When they talk about the Melbourne Cup, you know, the race that stops the nation, it's just loved locally here in Liverpool, isn't it? You go into the city, and everyone has just got that real excitement for the race, and they all get involved, and it's wonderful. I want to ask you as well, in terms of, like, you talk about all the money that's going to be staked on the Grand National. At times they're back a grey, they look at their names, their mum's name, their son's name, their daughter's name. There's all of that to it. Have you got specials kind of laid out?
Oh, look, I mean, we have got so many. You mentioned grey horses. There's a record 7 greys running in the race this year, which in itself, I'd say, is fantastic. People love a grey horse. Now, there's 7 this year, so be careful if you back to grey that you're following the right one. Will a grey horse win? 7-2. JP McManus bidding to become, I think, the winning most owner. He's 15-8, but we're betting on which will be the best of the British runners. Which will it be an Irish domination? I mean, an Irish 1, 2, 3, 4 is only 5-1.
Too short. You could boost that a bit for us all.
Well, but that's the domination that
come on, David,
Willie Mullins, Gavin Cromwell. But listen, punters don't care where the horses train. But you mentioned there how people pick their horses. As things stand, what are we now? Just 11:15. The worst 4 results in our book, and I bet very few people would kind of guess this. Can Do Kid.
Okay.
Great name. Nick Rocket. Brilliant name for a racehorse on Grand National Day. Cocoa Beach runs in the race every year and is always well backed. And Hitman makes up our top 4 of worst results at this moment in time. Horses like Iroko, Percival Liguilars, that you think might be really bad results, actually are fine. They're just not attracting the bets in huge numbers. The horse that kind of bucks that in the betting is I Am Maximus. He's got the brilliant name, he's got the form, he's last year's winner, and he's trained by that man Mullin. So I think he'll start favourite, but it's not guaranteed.
Do you think that he has a good chance of winning it again?
he's got to defy all sorts of history on weight, isn't he? What was it, Red Run? But,
Yeah,
but do you know what? Of
1974.
course he can win it again, because he was brilliant last year. Say, he's trained by a genius. This has been his target. He can absolutely win it.
And in terms of, you talked about, there's some of the names that have been popular, and then that you see, I Am Maximus might still go favourite. Like Hewick has been a real talk horse. Even in the media centre, we've been out and about on the track this morning. They're all talking about Hewick.
Yeah, he's another horse with a great following. I mean, there's been all the pictures of him online about him drinking his pint of Guinness and everything.
Still.
But absolutely.
I was chatting to Gordon Brown, he won't mind me saying it, and he was doing an interview with Radio Scotland, or there was some Scottish radio thing he was doing. He says, yeah, and they were asking him, is that the horse that drinks the pints?
Yeah.
And it was just like, that was it.
But this is exactly the magic of the Grand National, where you get a story like that. Now, if you were to ask me, what do I think would be the best winning story, I would say Hewick. 850 euros, trained by the Shark, drinks Guinness. Come on, that writes itself.
All right, on that note, we will leave it there. Thank you so much, and we will be catching up a little bit later on this afternoon. Enjoy National Day. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Rachel.
David Stevens in conversation with Rachel on track about all of the movers and shakers in the market of the Grand National. Now, don't forget, Freeview is just about to end. If you are joining us via Freeview, you won't be able to for much longer. But if you want to carry on enjoying all of the previews and all of the upcoming things on the full SP preview, then go to racingtv.com/benefits and we can carry on the fun all together. So racingtv.com/benefits, as you can see at the bottom of your screen. Now, when it comes to I Am Maximus, looking to go back-to-back in the Grand National, he's looking to join a pretty exclusive club. Only 7 horses have ever won the National more than once, and only 5 have gone back-to-back. Now, how does he match up on the figures in his bid to repeat his victory from 12 months ago? Let's take a look at it with the help of Race IQ, because if this had been the race prior to 2013, he might not have got round that first circuit. His jumping, less than impressive, but what he absolutely has is an engine to keep him in the positions, what Chris was mentioning in the Grand National preview before. Look at him, as he just goes over a few of these. He's actually going to lose 0.92 at this one, and at the chair, he makes a shuddering mistake, as we're about to see. I mean, he's just coming into this, and the fact that they aren't going quickly has absolutely played into his favour. It's meant he's able to make these errors. Look at this here. Just the way he takes it. That's a momentum-stopping one, but only 0.75 lengths he lost because of the pace that they're going in the race. It was a similar circuit, a similar way on the second circuit. This is a big error. He loses nearly a length and a half just for the fact he's not giving his fences a massive amount of respect. If they had been the old-style ones, you would worry for him. But now to the business end of the race, and this is where it gets really interesting, because it's like he's just joined in. 14.45 for the second-to-last furlong, and 14.58, and that is backed up by the visual display. For context, he was a second and a half quicker than Delta Work, who ended up finishing second, and Manila Indo a full 2 seconds quicker in the final split. They're slowing down. He is absolutely just getting going. So the stamina absolutely not in doubt for a runaway winner of last year's Grand National. But if it was more of a test and jumping was placed at more of a premium, another mistake like that and the ability to lose his position could be a problem for I Am Maximus. In terms of being handicapped, I don't think that's necessarily the problem. It will just be how the race plays out, which will be key in his bid to regain his crown. More on the Grand National shortly, but there are other races on the card, including the Mersey Novices Hurdle. 2.5 miles the trip for the Turners Mersey Novices Hurdle. Horace's Pearl 5-2 for Fergal O'Brien and Conor Brace. Regent Stroll 9-2. Honesty Policy 5-1 with Cocktail Divine. Miami Magic 7-1. Kappa J Pike 15-2. 18's Good and Clever. Funiculi Funicular 20-1. Castle Carrick 25-1. So 5-2 the field for our Grade 1 Turners Mersey Novices Hurdle. Let's get back to the guys on track.
Yeah, and a host of unexposed horses, couple trying a new trip today. And Horace's Pearl, remember what he done 12 months ago, beating stable companion Tripoli Flyer, who was off favourite yesterday. I know he he didn't run his race, but he still remains an exciting prospect.
He does. He's unbeaten. He's done absolutely nothing wrong today. First time he's tackled Grade 1 company, so we'll find out how good he is, but difficult to knock his profile so far. This is Huntingdon, where he wins on his penultimate start. First run over hurdles this day. He wins in decent style. He was
1 to 5 to do so.
Yeah, he did what he was entitled to do, didn't he? First time over hurdles, wins by 6 lengths, and then he went to Newbury next time out, defied his penalty. Just in terms of opposition, it's a different level for him this afternoon. He seems to go most kind of ground. We know from the bumper here last season, on this day last year, that he handles the track well enough. Just wonder whether he's quite sharp enough to win a Grade 1 over 2.5 on drying ground, personally, and whether he's a proper Grade 1 horse. But he's done nothing wrong. He can't argue with his form.
But a 5 to 2,
I think he's short enough for what he's achieved, but he's unbeaten, and he's got course form. But he's taking on a lot better calibre of opposition today.
Chris?
I agree with a lot of that, really. The overriding thing for me is that I just sort of think the depth amongst the Irish novices is that much greater that I kind of think that they'll win the Grade 1s when they come around. Obviously, Lalamba would have been an exception to that this afternoon. You would have thought, but Horace's Pearl is sort of found that position at the top of the market. I think the depth of form of the hurdles isn't really there. He's won as he liked and he's beaten what was put in front of him, but this is a different level again. You do go back to his bumper form, but yeah, he's clearly got a chance and he's improving, but I'd have very similar concerns to what Mark did. And ultimately, it boils down to price, doesn't it? And I just think that he's a bit too short.
Regis Stroll, similar comments are going to apply to a lot of that. But, and again, it's not his fault, but he's been running in races where he's been 1 to 12, etc. His best piece of form was obviously the Goffs bumper last year at Newbury, the one chance he got in a really deep race, and he was impressive. And he's cantered around in a few novice hurdles up in class. Paul Nicholls won the Red Rum again Thursday. Colwell Potter in these colours, obviously yesterday. Yard
have had a really good week, and he's always had a lofty reputation. Hence, they paid the price to keep him in the yard during the summer. But to me, he's always looked a thorough stare, and I think he will end up being a 3-miler. I just would worry 2.5 miles round here, a sharp track on good ground. They ran him in the shallow. He was far too keen. He pulled his chance away basically before they even started that day. And then 2 miles was too sharp for him. He won a soft race at Wincanton last time out. I think he's got loads of ability, but I don't think he's ready for a race like this. I don't think he's quick enough. I don't think he's got the know-how to win a Grade 1 over 2.5 on good ground round Aintree.
Okay, so we're sort of, well...
Yeah, it kind of boils down to a similar point to what I said. I think the Irish form is probably just as a division stronger. I wouldn't be as worried about the Challow because they rode him different. I think that was part of the reason for why he's enthusiastic, but he hasn't been keen in that fashion when he's been given his head and allowed to roll along, and they've put a hood on him. So I think those factors will help. But
so you think letting him stroll along, he'll be fine?
Well, I think he'll be better. And this track, you know, with a hood on, I think there is a bit of a chance. Yeah.
I think the last 2 days, what we have seen, especially on the hurdle track, horses struggling to get in from behind. Wellington Arch made all. In the William Hill Premier Hurdle yesterday. It's been no bad thing to be right on it.
No, Mercier
made all in the 4-year-olds.
It's ultimately a speed favouring track, isn't it?
On this ground.
When you started talking about him, Neptune Cologne walked right behind you.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Just a sign.
We'll get a shot of him. Yeah, the Parade of Legends is looking in the race car earlier. It really is.
Yeah,
a Parade of
Legends.
One. Honest policy. He's up and trip today, which I think he's really crying out for. I think he needed here today. I think whatever beats him, we won't blame the extra yardage.
No, I don't think so. First run for JP McManus, he's been bought to St Gordon's Yard since his win at Leopardstown last time. He got himself in a bit of trouble, and he did well to win that day because he got locked up on the far rail, but he got out and won well. Again, whether he's up to this standard, we'll find out. He's a promising horse, but he needs to improve a lot to be winning the Grade 1, I thought.
He's rated 135. But
I like him. Just because I think he's going to improve a bundle for the trip. I mean, he's bred to want further than this. He's got a proper staying pedigree, and he's achieved what he's achieved at 2 miles, despite it being 2 miles. I just think that there is a chance that there is a bundle of improvements to come for the extra distance.
Okay, heading to Bromhead Bridge for Blackmore and the owners of Cup Maneno in doing the Randox Grand National, and they can warm up nicely here with Cocktail Devan, who's looked smart.
He has, I think he's got every chance today. He was a good second at Leopardstown on his his first run of the season, or first run since he came up from Ireland, narrowly beaten by one of Willie Mullins's. And then next time out, he wasn't right. The yard weren't right when he was third behind Cowabunga and William Money. Was beaten a long way, having travelled well. And this is Leopardstown last time out, just before the Cheltenham Festival. He wins by 6 lengths. The form in behind is nothing to get excited about, but I think he's a proper 2.5 miler. He won't mind the ground. I think he comes here with strong claims. The yard continued to be in and out. You don't know where you stand with the yard, but if the yard are really firing today and he's on form, I think he'll run really well.
Yeah, that is in the back of my mind. Yeah, the yard form, Chris?
Wouldn't worry me a huge amount. I think generally, unless it's over a sustained period, I just think when Henry de Bromhead horses get to these big meetings, more often than not, most of them will run the race, so it wouldn't massively concern me. I thought him and the horse that we'd already discussed, Honest Policy, were the two to back against the field, really. Mainly majoring on Honest Policy, but I think Cocktail Divan will love the ground conditions. I think that third place finish in between, where he was well beaten, came on a deeper surface. I know officially it was softer ground in France, but you never quite know what the score is there. Number of horses that you look at in France won on heavy ground, then they're just not a heavy ground horse. Yeah. I think he's a decent ground horse, and he'll enjoy the conditions, and he's getting better. It's the right sort of trip. I quite like him.
Okay, Stuart Edmonds is at good times here. He won the Topham 12 months ago. He's got Miami Magic in here, who is good run in the Formby. Here, Boxing Day. Yeah. And obviously here we're going to have a look at him in the Dovecote.
Yeah, this is a Dovecote last time out, where he gets, in the end, he gets emphatically beaten by Tripoli Flyer, who let himself down round here yesterday. He was a big disappointment. You got Celtic Dino back in third. He ran well in the conditional jockeys race, the last race here last night. So, slightly mixed form, but it's a solid enough run. He's had 4 runs over hurdles. He doesn't mind the ground. He doesn't mind sharp tracks. I think Aintree will probably play to his strengths. He's rated 138. I think he's now the top rated with Lalamba out, so you could see him running his race. At the same time, just don't think there's any wow factor about him, really. I think if there's a very good novice against him, he'll always be vulnerable.
Chris?
Yeah, sort of, again, agree with a good amount of that, really. The run in the form behind Potter's Charm. Potter's Charm was well enough held, wasn't he, at Cheltenham? But that was a hot race, I think, and he certainly wasn't disgraced. Yeah. So that was a pretty good run. But again, I sort of feel like there might just be something with a touch more class than him.
It sounds like you're taking the first two. Well, this man is the first two in the market. You're worried about the price of the favourite.
Yeah. I like Cocktail Divan. I think everything. If he turns up top of his game, I think he'll run well. I'll just mention Good and Clever as well. Yeah. He's tackling the trip for the first time. I'm sure he will improve. On form, he can't win because he was a long way behind Regent Stroll at Newbury early season, and he was behind Stuart Edmonds' horse in the Formby. But I think he'll improve for a lot for going 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the two that I like are Cocktail Divan and mainly Honest Policy. Wouldn't rule out completely Capija Pike, just on the basis that ran in that Turner's behind the New Lion. I don't think he was disgraced. He was going into it as a really inexperienced horse. He'd won well the time before that. He comes from a yard that can do nothing wrong, so just the fact that he's the one the pitching in makes him of some interest, but it was the other two that I liked at the prices.
Yeah. Okay, we're shaking hands. The racecourse all want to slice with Mark Howard. You cannot get enough of Mark Howard. As we,
Tony's a cameraman. He should know better. Yeah. Just shows what happens when he gets on the wrong side of the camera, doesn't it? Yeah. He's so used to being behind the camera.
Yeah, he's popular. Right, that's a look at the Turner's Mercy Hurdle, the second race on Grand National here at Aintree today.
Well, I've come to the Horse and Groom with panoramic views of the paddock, and inside, well, it's certainly all about the senses, the taste and everything else. I've got Sebastian Coe alongside me, and of course our resident wine tipster Neil Phillips. This is our last treat of the Grand National meeting in terms of all of this lovely food and hospitality.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, we've had a great week here. I love this location, and I really do. Just overlooking the parade ring here, really exciting. Alice has done a great job, and also for me as well, I love this pub atmosphere. You know, I'd like to mix it up for you, Rachel. You know, you've had quite a very varied journey around Aintree this week, but it just shows you all the different pieces of Aintree as well.
And so that's so important, isn't it, to have variety?
Yeah, and I think so. And I think, you know, we've got the very high-end hospitality there, but then we've also got like a more of a relaxed atmosphere. It's a great view over the parade ring, and then the food is just a little bit more relaxed, and a little bit more people can feel relaxed around the food, but it's still at that high level that we'd expect to see on for the Grand National for sure.
Well, it is,
yeah.
And with you chefing, of course, it's a high level.
Well, yeah. We've had a really busy couple of days, and then obviously accumulates this today, which the restaurant's jammed up today to the rafters. But we should have a really good service, hopefully.
You will certainly.
Yeah.
It's very quiet now, but my gosh, it'll be buzzing later.
Well, it will be. Yeah.
Have you felt that atmosphere? I mean, your head chef, obviously, your priority is to have this delicious food for everybody here. But are you getting kind of a sense of the atmosphere and this city and how big this meeting is?
Yeah, of course. It's a tremendous meeting that, from the Thursday, you get, when all the guys are coming in, you can feel the build up to the Grand National. The city loves it. Obviously it's a marquee moment for the city throughout the year as well. So, today it's just this grand event, and we really need to make sure that the food really shines, and the menus that we've got on in the Horse and Groom here certainly do make the food shine.
And
for sure.
how difficult was it to choose a menu and to create this menu?
Well, our executive chef, he produces the menus, but for us to carry it off in here, there's challenges, but ultimately, we'll get that consistency, which is what we want, from a food point of view, for sure.
And I love your enthusiasm, Alistair. That's what I love. You're so passionate about it.
Yeah,
that's great.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's great because we've got all this great local seasonal foods, but as well we've got some real touches of flair and touches of indulgence as well, and it's all in that pub feel, that gastro-pubby sort of feel,
We love indulgence, very much so.
That's one thing.
And great drink as well,
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Look, I mean, actually, tell us what Rachel's got there, because they're just, you can't wait to dive in. Come on.
Well, yeah. So Rachel, here we've got a lovely. Well, pies are synonymous with race days, so we've got a lovely little steak and Peter's ale pie there. Crisp pastry, lovely great filling, and it's got a lovely little parsley root puree, crispy onions which add another bit of texture to it. The green obviously just sets it alive on the white plate there, and you've got a lovely rich jus as well there. So it's just, it's a steak and ale pie, but just done that little bit better. Yeah, for sure.
Here as well.
Come on, Rachel,
all
go in.
Sounds delicious.
I've got to say, we've been building up, actually, over the 3 days to having a pie.
Yes, that's it.
Our producer loves pies. So we've got to do that. And but I love the presentation.
Again, it's very, very. What's the word? Not arty, but it's very, contemporary.
This is really hearty, but there's a lovely sweetness with the mash.
Well, that's the parsley root there. It just gives it. It does give you that little bit of texture. Different textures and flavours, and they all work together and offset. So it's a little harmony. Spring.
How was that, Rachel?
Oh, of course.
The flavours are wakening up.
Listen, if I could wake up to this every morning, it would be fantastic. And this looks really, really clever.
And again, this is just, it's not just a soup, we take things to that little next level there. So again, with this soup here, we've got a lovely slow roasted tomatoes, basil, garlic, all in this soup here. And then in the actual bowl itself, we've got some piquillo peppers that are thinly shredded, a little bit of basil oil, and then we've got a lovely crisp arancini, which again has got full of sun-dried tomatoes.
It's a bit of theatre to soup, isn't it?
Yeah, and then that's it. So the waitress will come to the table. You'll have to excuse my pouring. The girls will do better.
Excuse your pouring. Your pouring is excellent.
That's it. And we go all the way around that arancini. So it sits in the middle there. So when the customers come in to have the soup, there we go. They'll go through the arancini, and they'll have the soup, and then the bottom of the kilo peppers have got that little bit of spice and a little bit of sweetness to it as well. So again, it just adds textures and flavours to, what people would say is a tomato soup, but it's not,
there's nothing basic about it, is there? In terms, when you think of soup, sometimes I don't go to the soup because it's boring. But this is clever, and there is that theatre about it, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I could have soup every day. I really could.
Well, yeah, and it's one of the popular ones as well. Between that and the pie, they're the two real popular starters. Yeah. And even with the hot weather yesterday, it's still it's a lovely spring summery dish, so it works perfectly well.
Right. Well, Alistair's done some beautiful pouring. You're pouring the last 3 days, and what have we got?
Well, I'll tell you what I've done here as well. We've got We've got a Sauvignon Blanc, because I know you like Sauvignon Blanc, Rachel, and Alistair, I know you like Sauvignon.
Well, yes, but out of work though, Neil. Yeah.
Oh,
obviously after work.
Well, you can, you know.
I've got a busy service here.
You know, you can have a sip now. It's part of the chef experience.
No Keith Floyd.
No Keith Floyd. Right.
You've got me worried. If you have a sip, what happens to you?
Well, ask the customers in about half an hour.
Henry Sellers and Father Ted or something. I'm just joking.
Right, we're going to have a. So this is New Zealand, Craggy Range. Interestingly enough, it's not South Island, which is Marlborough is very famous for Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. This is Martinborough, bottom of the North Island. Very interesting. This is Craggy Range. So let's have a taste. The Craggy Range started in 1998. As you know, New Zealand, quite a recent phenomenon, really. And the first Sauvignon Blanc, cheers, everybody. First Sauvignon Blanc was planted in New Zealand in 1973. And look at the impact it's actually had. Here we go. Oh, wow.
Very nice.
Tell you what, that's so super fresh, but it's got all those kind of characteristics. It's got all those sort of gooseberries, but it's really creamy as well, which I really like too. Do you know what? I might have to have one of those tonight as well.
As well as this morning and this afternoon.
Well, I'm just thinking, you've got to think about, after you've had your three, what are you going to enjoy? I just love that freshness. And one of the things you do is you've got lots of acidity. That makes you salivate. It brings you back to the wine. Now, one of the things I'm just noticing, we've got some desserts to come in as well, actually. We're going to do some desserts
here
too.
As well.
So if we can bring the desserts in, that would be great, please. And that'll be, here we go. We'll just come round here. Oh, I can have the soup.
No,
I'm going to have the soup, I think.
So again, thank you very much.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Superb. We've got that one there.
Oh, we've got two desserts. Great.
Yeah, I've got you two.
We've got very hungry cameramen.
Yeah. We've got a lovely traditional.
Oh my goodness.
A traditional, and then we've got the dessert that the horse and groom is kind of going to be synonymous for, you know, which is our little showstoppery kind of fun play dessert almost, you know. So I'll start off with that one. So this one's our ice cream, Biscoff ice cream sundae. So again, we've got lovely layers of Biscoff, we've got fudge in there, we've got caramel cream in there, ice cream in there, and then it's topped with some whipped cream and a little bit more biscuit, so you get lots of, it's just a joy to eat.
It's like a little nostalgia.
It's a joy to make and a joy to eat.
I think the crew are going to stop filming. They're just looking like,
you go for
come
it,
on, Rachel, you've got to go.
We've got your Sunday spoon and everything. Just
it's going right in there.
That's it.
Actually, well, Rachel's, great stuff. Well, Rachel's really going in there.
Yeah. See, there you go. Stop. That's it.
Just while
It's gingery, it's gooey.
It's and again, it's just a great dessert. But again, it's a relaxed dessert, isn't it? You know, it's something that people will kind of understand. You know, and when they sit down in here, they can be confident in ordering food as well. You know, and know what they're going to get. But it's just a little bit of a wow as well.
And there's banoffee pie is a golden oldie, isn't it? You can't
beat
it.
Well, it is. Yeah.
Tell you what, just talk us through.
Sorry, and the
we're going to tell you what we're doing. A quick chat on this, and we're going to do a quick national tip as well. So
yes, of course. So we've got the apple tartan. Again, it's a lovely classic bistro pub dessert. Nice vanilla ice cream, apple crisp, and a bit of apple caramel puree there as well.
Will we be toasting the red wine too in the Grand National today?
We've got a Primitivo from San Manzano. It's a cooperative, south of Italy, Puglia. Nice medium-bodied red. Really, really popular. I think Primitivo is great value. I really do. And in terms of national tip, who do you fancy for the national, Alistair?
I'm going to go with Hewick.
Hewick is going to go with.
I think that might be my tip.
Well, I love the ground.
I hope we're in good company, because I'm also going with Hewick today.
Oh, well, there you go. I think I've chose well then.
Yeah, well, we've just met, Alice. You can't be too sure.
And I'm going to go for Percival Lagawa.
Listen, cheers to Hewick.
Cheers, everybody.
Let's go cheers to Hewick.
And
to the winner, and once again, a fabulous Grand National meeting. Thank you so much, Alistair. And I hope your team can celebrate tonight and have a great day.
Yes, thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Full SP Preview, proudly sponsored by Typeform.
The Sky Bet Sunday series, it's changed the game for certain trainers. It's the kind of thing you might base a horse's season on.
Certainly concentrates your brain if you win one of the first races.
Near side, Let's Be Frank trying to get there. Let's Be Frank's got up to it.
Give me my moment, step
Looking for the second one to bring us that 100 grand bonus.
Let's Be Frank, another big winner for Jim Goldie.
One more win for 100 grand, and you're not going to leave that behind, eh?
Hopefully I don't leave it behind.
To win 3Ds, it's a fair achievement. It takes a bit of doing.
Let's Be Frank near side. Oh, it's desperate.
Here we go.
That's number 4, Let's Be Frank.
The bonus is 1, Let's Be Frank.
That's just streamlined it. It's a great initiative.
The Sky Bet Sunday Series returns this summer. Will the bonus be won? Find out on Racing TV.
Play different. It's what we do. Get a completely free bet this weekend at Aintree on any racing multi. Betfair. Play different.
Full SP Preview. Proudly sponsored by Typeform.
Let's flame and go, girls. Well, we're all ready for this year's Grand National, especially Michael Shinners of Sky Bet. This is such an exciting day. Everyone's buzzing, blue skies, beautiful weather, and a class lineup as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some crowd here today, Rachel. Like you said, the weather looks set fair, and we've got 34 runners. It's going to be a fantastic day, and then the build up to the Grand National, and then the race itself. Really looking forward to it.
And what about Sky Bet in terms of the best chances, best 5, let's say winners, losers from a business point of view?
Yeah, we're paying 6 places, and it's a race where you can't really predict. It's difficult to predict what you're going to lay, what you're not going to lay. The worst results are not always the obvious ones. Chantry House is our worst result, followed by Hitman.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. Can Do Kid, 300 through 5, and Stumptown. They're the worst results. Our best
Chantry House is one of your worst results?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a big price, I guess. So, like, in terms of actual worst result, that's going to be one of the worst ones.
Okay.
The best results, Iroko is our best result. Grange Clare West in 10 raffles, Senior Chief and Percival Le Gallois. So we've got quite a few of the fancied ones running for us at the moment. Obviously it's early doors, it can all change, it probably will. But at the moment, yeah, we've probably of the fancied horses, Stumptown would be our worst result.
And in terms of going off favourite, who's going to go off the jolly for this year's renewal?
You would have to imagine that it's probably going to be Iron Maximus. Obviously, Willie Mullins has dominated the festival so far. Paul Townend taking the ride, won the race last year. People will remember winning money for them last year. I suspect he'll go off favourite.
Okay, so Iron Maximus to become the first horse since Red Rum in 1974 to win back-to-back Grand Nationals. Now, our good friend Michael has been enjoying Liverpool.
Yeah.
A bit too much of you and letting the main down?
No, not at all, Rachel. The ultimate professional, I like to think.
He's always the ultimate professional.
Yeah.
Right, I found the perfect spot for you on the final day of the festival.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of a little bit of, R&R, which is badly needed.
Yeah.
Since you have been letting the main down. So here we go. You can come in here. You've got. Okay. You can win loads of prizes and everything.
I think
it's just what you need.
Yeah, I think a glow up
Hop
would be.
over there and give it a spin.
A glow up would be absolutely fantastic, to be honest, Rachel. Come on, please don't be in. Oh, hello.
Oh, you won
a very beauty
prize. What would you be hoping for a beauty prize?
Well, I mean, I don't know, something around the eyes there, I think.
Okay, like a nice eye cream?
Yeah, for like get the crow's feet away.
Skin bit
yeah,
dehydrated?
I think so. Yeah,
okay,
a little bit.
Martin, we've just won a prize.
A very beauty prize.
Yeah, a very beauty prize. It's actually this lucky gentleman, not me. Not me at all.
I know what you're thinking.
So, Michael, lucky dip.
Yeah.
What are you hoping for?
Well,
tell the eye cream is badly needed.
A bit of eye cream would be perfect if that's doable.
And if not?
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Got a nice little bit cologne for you.
Oh, lovely, thank you.
So that's your gentleman's cologne.
Oh, thank you very much.
And then we've got a lovely Hugo Boss perfume cone holder. So.
Oh, brilliant, thank you. You're very kind, thank you very much.
He's always wanted one of them, haven't you?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. This is brilliant, thank you.
All right, well, he'll be smelling lovely. And he'll be very much enjoying the Grand National today. Who are you backing?
Percival Le Gallois for me, Rachel.
Okay.
What about you?
Hewick.
Are you Hewick?
Yeah, I am Hewick.
Will you have changed your mind before 4 o'clock, though?
Probably.
Okay,
yeah.
fair enough.
I've got 4 on the list. That could become 6 or 7. Have you guys had a great time?
Been brilliant, yeah.
All right, lovely stuff. Thank you so much, and we will chat to you maybe a little bit later.
Thank you, Rachel.
And where you'll be smelling lovely.
Thank you.
Michael Chinnes getting a glow up at the Aintree Grand National, sponsored by Randox. Now, an hour later, after the big race, is the Maghull Novices Chase, and Loda Sud, like his stablemate yesterday, Be Aware, switches to a test that he might enjoy a little bit more than he faced at Cheltenham. That's what the figures suggest, according to Race IQ. Let's take it back to the Arkle, and I mean, look at the way he is travelling into this race. He's going brilliantly just in behind Madgeborough. Harry Skelton did say he was perhaps a little closer than he wanted to be on this occasion, and that's going to tell in the finish. But look at the sectionals. Furlong 12, 13.06. It is quick in the context of this race. Compare and contrast his last furlong, 15.38, to Django Bay, who you just see peeking in at the back of shot. He's going to fly home and put in a 13.86 last split. They've gone hard, they've taken each other on, and has set up for a closer. Add into the fact that he was taking in a stiff enough finish, a test that probably wouldn't have taken him to his absolute best, then that's a really creditable run. And Django Bay's done the form no harm as well, running well this week on day 1. This was him in the King makeup before, and this is why this test should suit him a lot better, because he is locked in with Rubo. Harry Skelton and Lorcan Williams have gone hammer and tongs down the back straight. From a mile into the contest to a half a mile out, they have really engaged into each other. 12.83 for Furlong 8 and Furlong 9, 12.82. Those are fractions which are very, very quick in the context of a 2-mile chase, and they're absolutely going to tell in the end, because when it comes to the final fence, he's not quite legless, but it's grit and determination getting it through him. Remember, Rubo, after this, went on to step up in trip, as this suggested he should, and win the 2.5-mile Pendle. 98.52% finishing speed percentage. That's a finishing speed percentage you'd expect akin to the Golden Shaheen, which we'll see on Dubai World Cup night a little bit later on. That's a dirt finishing speed percentage. They'd gone really hard in that, and I wonder, with the right tactics, and the Skeltons probably not keen to have anything of the early running, and really hoping Touch Me Not goes on with it and provides them with a good aim into the race, then things could drop a little bit kinder for Loda Sud in the Maghull Chase, which comes up at 5 o'clock. Well, the figures, according to Race IQ, tell a story. The market absolutely does as well, because look at this move for Caliph du Burley. 2-1 joint favourite now. Loda Sud and Only by Night were fighting it out at the top of the market before this move for Paul Nicholls' representative. 2-1 joints. Only by Night, the mare, 11-4 in front of Loda Sud in the Arkle. Touch Me Not, the potential pace angle of the race, 17-2. And then it's a gap back to Special Caddo at 25-1, with Brookie rounding them off at 28-1. All in all, Niall, a fascinating race in terms of the figures we just went through with Loda Sud, but particularly this market move for owner-mate Caliph du Burley, who's now 2-1 joint favourite with Loda Sud.
Yeah, and he's had that pause that refreshes. I think back in trip as well is really going to suit him. He hasn't been to Cheltenham, he's seen the Arkle. It was attritional, the way they all finished. Sir Alex Ferguson well represented, obviously with Loda Sud. He hasn't a lot to shout for in the football pitch at the minute, but he's got 2 live chances here, Chris.
He has. Caliph du Burley, I would agree that the drop back in trip is a positive for him. I think it was just a little bit too much for him at Sandown. As you mentioned, he's had that pause in his programme. Yep, he's had that pause in his programme since then to get over that hard race as Caliph du Burley. So yeah, there's definite positives with him, and he was impressive here when he won on New Year's Day, beating Vicenza.
Yeah. Paul Nicholls, we touched on it earlier, Mark.
Yeah.
He said about bypassing Cheltenham, all of these, and aiming, targeting for entry, and
yeah.
it's certainly no bad thing, and you've seen a winner Thursday and winner yesterday, Caldwell Putter.
Very much so, yeah, but I agree with both of you. Back in trip, I think better ground's going to help him as well. And you look at this race's history, Paul's won it 7 times, including 4 times with 5-year-olds. So, you know, you think of your Armour Turks and Loire Miguel, those kind of horses. It's almost like a flashback to the olden days with this kind of horse here. So the fact he's fresh, I think these conditions are really going to suit him, and he's going to get a pace, isn't he? You've got Lotus Sud, you've got Gordon Elliott's horse. They're going to go a fair old lick, I would think.
Lotus Sud, it's his best form. His best form is on slightly slower ground. Does that bother you at all?
It doesn't. No, not really. I think he's got form on a sound enough surface along the way as well. And if you were just looking at sort of figures that he's run to, you'd have to have his Arkle run right up there.
This is the Kingmaker, obviously.
Yeah, this was the Kingmaker. He beats Rubod and beats him well. I think in the Arkle he would have gone. Well, he wasn't beaten far anyway, but he was probably just in front long enough. It's interesting they've stuck some cheap pieces on him today. Obviously, a feeling that he didn't do much when he did get there last time out, and I think if he just reproduces the form from behind Django Bay in the Arkle, then it might well be enough in what isn't a deep Grade 1 to be winning this.
Okay. He's had a busy season, he's had a productive season. Is that in the back of your mind? Is the ground in the back of your mind?
Yeah, both those points. The fact he's had a busy season, winning round Stratford in, was it October time, I think it was. So and he's had at least 2 very hard races. He had a hard race that day at Warwick, even though he won well. And Cheltenham, he can't have had an easy race as well. And the ground, I know it was decent ground in the Arkle last time out, but I think his very best performances have been on soft ground. You think of the Betfair hurdle last season, you think of the County hurdle, and early in the season this year, but this was a solid enough performance. I'd just be sceptical about the form this day. For me, Madra was a different class, and then it all goes wrong at the second last, and then it was up for grabs after that point. So I think those in behind at the time going to the second lights were a bit much of a muchness. I'd be sceptical about this.
But he's the one that is looking like he's going to give Madra, who is the class act in the field, a race, and if that hadn't happened and Madra had given him a lead for longer, I think he would have given them all more of a race, and it would have been a little bit different. So I'd just take a slightly different view on him with that in mind, because I agree that Madra was probably a class apart without those late mistakes, really, but it ended up being a strange race, the Arkle, didn't it?
It did, very much so. So you think he'll get back ahead of the mare?
Yeah.
You do? Think he'll confirm it or get past only by 9?
I think he's vulnerable, Lotus Sud. I'd favour Caliph de Burleigh just because he's fresh. I think these are conditions, and it's going to be a pretty strong gallop. And you're bearing in mind the race isn't until 5 o'clock. It's after the Grand National. We've got a drying wind. We've got warm temperatures. It's going to be pretty quick by 5 o'clock, isn't it? The Malmö course. It's already good now, and I just think if it's on the quicker side of good, I think that'll be count against Lotus Sud.
I think the Kingmaker, he got the rhythm down the back, which he can do at Warwick, and he was winging fences, which maybe made him at the winning line not visually as impressive.
No,
but I think down the back here, if he can get in that rhythm, will really suit him.
Yeah, I think the track will suit him. I was surprised he ran as well as he did in the Arkle, because I thought he had a really hard race in the Kingmaker. Because Harry Skelton, he didn't spare him down the back, did he? He fired him into his fence, and every time he responded, he had a really hard race that day. I think he could run vulnerable.
But then he's bounced back. I mean, obviously, the cumulative effect of hard races can end up taking its toll, can't it? But the fact that he's had one race where there wasn't a hiding place in the Kingmaker, bounced back in the same form straight away without a big break in between at Cheltenham. I know it's the 3rd time you're going, but he's kind of proven that he can take that hard campaigning already. Whether he can take it again, I don't know. But to me, I think he's just a bit better horse than the rest of them.
You think he wins?
Yeah.
I think Caliph de Burleigh.
Yeah, I agree. Caliph de Burleigh. Yeah.
2-1. Okay, that's our thoughts ahead of the McGill. I must just mention, I do think it's a bit. Does it get lost in after the Grand National a little bit?
I agree. You shouldn't be having a Grade 1 after a Grand National. I mean, there's something for said, either make the National the last race or just have the bumper and then finish. You shouldn't have a Grade 1 after a Grand National, I don't think. Say the winning jockey say the jockey wins the Grand National and they've got to come out and ride in a Grade 1 afterwards. I don't think that's right.
Thoughts?
I agree.
You agree? We agree on something, but they don't agree in the race. That's the look. At the McGill, a Grade 1 is due off. Our penultimate race at 5 o'clock.
We're really, really proud of the association with Boodles. They were actually founded back in 1798 in Liverpool.